The reason your defense sucks and you keep giving up easy touchdowns here in CFB 26 is because you're not in an actual defensive scheme that's capable of locking down every offense in the game. Luckily for you, in this video, I'm breaking down the complete guide to my 3-2-6 defensive ebook with the best glitch blitzes and coverages that will have you locking down every single drive. I just showed everything to this player, and his points allowed per game decreased by an entire touchdown, so I know the same thing can happen for your defense so long as you don't skip out on anything I have you today and you watch all the way until the end. Let's jump right into it. The first thing you need to understand here on defense is actually the best defensive settings to be using. Let me show you. Alright, so the first setting I want to break down is come to options, come into settings, and we are going to turn defensive heat seeker assist on with our window set to 100%. Alright, this is going to be the first setting that I want to break down because it's going to come back later in the video, so make sure you stick around to see why that's so important. But really next we're going to talk about zone drops, because if we click the right stick in on defense, we scroll down to the bottom, and everyone loves to question zone drops. BLT, what are the best zone drop settings? Where should I put them? Or whatever they ask, right? The reason why I say it depends on the situation is because there are many different use cases for different zone drop depths, right? So if you're trying to defend corner routes, right, the deep sideline, you're going to put your flats on 25 and you're going to call a cover 2 defense. If I can find one, there we go, Tampa 2. The reason why is because we're going to see if they put Horton on the corner, our 25-yard blue zone is just going to drop back there. You see how number 1 on the outside corner is dropping back there, and he's easily going to be able to lock this pass down just like this. Boom, and we're dropping back there, and we're going to be able to defend it. The reality, though, is that's great. But the difference is if they just put a table out on the field now on their running back, well, now you have a 25-yard flat. There's no one in the underneath flat, and they're going to be able to quickly hit those passes underneath and turn those into easy completion. So that's where it's like you need a combination. You need the 25 flat and the 5-yard curl flat to now put this outside linebacker in a curl flat like this. He's going to be dropping to 5 yards, while your other man right here is going to be dropping back to 25 yards. So now we take the snap. This pass underneath is going to be taken away, while our 25-yard flat is going to do a great job of, locking down that corner out. So that's really a great use case for zone drops. But also, if you're just trying to stop underneath passes, right, you're not worried about the deep sideline, you could just put your flats on default, curl flats on 5, and then call like cover 3 match, or any cover 3 defense, cover 3 sky. And now you're just going to be, sitting at 5 yards with your purple zones and being able to stop those underneath passes. But then the last, situation that I feel is the most important to break down here with zone drops is when you're actually calling match coverage. So you're calling cover 3 match, you're calling cover 6, you're calling cover 6 Willie. Any play that has a purple match indicator on it is telling you that if you don't use all 3 zone drop depths on default like this, the match coverage is not going to play correctly. So you're going to see how we're going to have cover 6 right here. We're going to call, let's see, any play, because it doesn't really matter. The match coverage is going to depend on the route concept that they call, but you're just going to see how we're going to have our soft squat, our quarter flat, everything's really in position right here. And so now what we're going to notice is our match coverage is going to play beautifully, pass off these routes, and really do a great job of taking away everything. The reality, though, when you run match coverage is normally one guy is left wide open, and you have to take him with your user. So that means that if you're going to run this is a high risk, high reward coverage, because if I take away everything, right, or excuse me, if I just take away Jam Miller with my running back or with my user, no one's open. You see how it's literally perfect defense, they can't throw anything. But if you don't recognize Jam Miller as being a threat, right, this is just an easy completion right here where we take the snap and then we just throw this, right? That's just an easy dot. So it's if you're going to be calling match coverage, it depends on the route concept they call, so you have to be ready to recognize what route concept that is and then how you can defend it. So really, those are the best use cases in understanding zone drops, where it's there's many different ones. If you want to stop corner routes, put your flats on 25 from cover 2. If you just want to stop underneath passes, put your curl flats on 5 from cover 3. And if you want to run match coverage like cover 6 Willie, cover 4 palms, for example, you need to have all 3 zone drop depths on default, which is why, again, zone drops depend on the situation. The next thing that's really important to understand, though, with this 3-2-6 defense is actually having a glitch blitz that can get the quarterback on the ground in a hurry. Let me show you the best one to use right now. Alright, so we're going to come into nickel 3-3 double mug here. We're going to be calling mid blitz 0, right? And we're not going to run the bot version of mid blitz that's super easy to beat. There's a really good way to run this defense that's actually really smart. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this middle linebacker right here. We're going to move him directly over the center just like this. And then we're going to drop our defensive end, B here in this case, into a curl flat zone. Or I guess you could put him on a hard flat if you wanted to. Just something to get him out there into the quick flat to take away those quick passes, because the reality is we're creating a 4-on-3 overload on the left side of the offensive line, which means they're going to have to get rid of the ball really quickly, and you don't want to give up those quick, easy completions to the flat. So we're going to take the snap, immediately press D-pad to the right to get out here, and so then you're going to be able to see our 4-on-3 advantage on the left, just for easy instant pressure. All right, boom, you're going to see instant replay, boom, you get the attention of the center. That's your user. That's where the D-pad switch stick with this becomes so valuable, because my user's blitzing. But as soon as the ball snap, actually before Ty Simpson even has the ball, you see how I'm clicked onto this man. So really, I'm user rushing them, and I'm back into coverage at once, simply because I'm using the best defensive feature here in this game, the D-pad switch stick. It's going to make your blitzes so much better. But again, my user, who I started the play on, runs to the center, and then we just have a 3-on-2 advantage over here on the left side of the offensive line, especially if they do decide to send 5 out. And again, actually the best part about this is I'm back into coverage with my user to take away these quick passes, this wheel route, because you see how Jam Miller's manned up from across the field. So if I wasn't here, they could just hike throw this. But because I jump out here and stop this, I'm able to intercept that pass if they decided to throw it. And then again, by the time anyone else could be breaking open right here, you're just able to see how Ty Simpson, the quarterback, is already on the ground. So again, the setup is to take this A-gap rusher on the right side. It doesn't matter what the offense does with their alignment. You're going to take this man, drag him about 2 yards over the left shoulder of the center, kind of like where I am here, put this man in some sort of zone like a hard flat, press RB, right stick up to pass commit. Now we're going to have them take the snap, and as soon as you see them snap the ball, press your D-pad to the right to D-pad switch stick onto this man. So boom, take it, D-pad switch stick, and now we're able to create that 4-on-3 advantage over there on the left side for an instant sack. Now, the reality is their counter is probably going to be, hey, let me just block my running back. And that's actually going to be fine for us, because now they don't have a quick outlet out to the flat. And if you know they're blocking their running back, just put this top safety in a hook curl like this. And so now instead of pressing D-pad to the right, you're going to press D-pad up to get onto that safety and actually be over the middle of the field to lurk. So again, boom, take the snap, press D-pad up. Our guy, actually that time, we still come in completely untouched, because the reality is blocking your running back when you're on offense isn't necessarily an answer for blocking blitzes every single time. You just see how right here, there's just random disengage. They have no communication, and then they just let him come in free because Jam Miller has to step up. And again, this time, we actually sent the same amount of guys, but yet we have an extra guy in coverage now, and we still get that instant pressure. So it's like, normally the running back will slide over and block someone and then get pushed into the quarterback. But when you run this setup, it really doesn't matter if they block their running back or not. As long as you set it up correctly, drop that man into a flat, pass, commit your defense, stand in the correct spot, and then D-pad switch stick out onto that flat or onto this safety, you're going to be walking to their backfield with the best blitz in the game from a formation that's already really good. Alright, so if you found this breakdown of the 3-2-6 playbook helpful here in this video so far, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. I break down college football 26 tips and tricks, give you guys free ebooks every single day, and you don't want to miss out on any of the content that I have. But if you want my full 3-2-6 defensive ebook, which goes through the full videos, screenshots, write-ups, everything you're going to need to dominate here on defense from this playbook, and you can always save it on your phone and reference it during gameplay, go to the link down below in the pinned comment to grab it today by using code YouTube to get 20% off. I guarantee it'll transform your defense. I highly recommend you check it out, but let's jump right back into the video. Because next I want to break down the best run defense you need to be using here from this 3-2-6 playbook. It's actually super easy. Let me show you. Alright, so there's actually a couple different ways that we're going to do this, and this is going to be best against inside runs, like halfback draw, halfback base, inside zone, those type of runs. But first, we're going to come right back into double mug here, and instead of taking this linebacker and moving him over, we're going to take the other guy, and we're going to move him over top of the center. Now this specific defense does depend on where the running back is. It's always just going to be the guy that's opposite the running back is the man that you want to take. So if they flip their play, I would move this guy Lawson over, but you know they don't, so we're good to go right here. But all you're going to do, take this linebacker opposite the running back, drag him over the center like this, and all you're doing at the snap is running down right into the backfield or right into the center. Because if we look at the offensive play art, when you stand over here, you see how this flame icon is over the top of that defensive end number 4, but as soon as I move right over here, now it switches to over top of the linebacker, and the flame icon means that that guy is going to come in free if he blitzes, and here in this case, we know he's blitzing. So boom, take it, you see how he comes in completely untouched, and so he's going to be able to stop that man in the backfield before he has the opportunity to go anywhere, before he has the opportunity to speed boost, before he gets into a tackle battle, anything. And it's super easy, like I said in the intro part of this segment, right? Where it's just like all you're doing is retargeting the offensive line, getting the center's attention, and then you just allow for this man to walk in free because you've moved over into the right spot. So again, boom, take it, run into him, and then you're just, what I would recommend, and this is why I said Heat Seeker is so important in the first segment of this video, because you want to dive tackle these guys. You do not want to just let the CPU make the tackle, because the reality is sometimes they will miss or sometimes they will get into a tackle battle. But when you click onto your man like I do right here and then press X on Xbox or square on PlayStation to dive tackle, now you're going to cut out the legs of the ball carrier like that and just force him to fall to the ground. And honestly, you can dive tackle him before he even touches the ball sometimes. Like literally as soon as he touches that ball, he's already on the ground. And I don't care how good a stick they have. There's absolutely no chance for them to be able to do anything. We look at the replay. Like again, as soon as he tucks the ball away, he's already on the ground going and getting tackled. So that's really what makes this double mug retargeting version of, the automatic run defense so valuable, is you're already running double mug with the glitch blitz that I showed you, but now you just take the opposite guy, you're retargeting the offensive line, and you're just going to walk in the backfield completely untouched just like that. But the second automatic run defense here that, you want to make sure that you're using is going to be from 326 odd, and 326 odd is actually called Dime 32, I believe, on PlayStation. But you're going to come into 326 odd, call cover 4 quarters, and you're taking this linebacker that's blitzing and you're dragging him directly inside the butt of this defensive tackle like this. Because now when we look at the offensive play art, now you're not going to see this, right? You're also not going to see the double mug retargeting. You're not going to see the flame icon. Only the offense will, but you just have to trust your lab work and know that this is what happens. When you come take this linebacker, stand directly inside the butt of this defensive tackle, the flame icon appears over your head, which means, again, you're walking in the backfield completely untouched. The reason why this one works, and it's a little bit different, is because there's basically 2 guys standing at the same spot in the offense's view or their perspective. They can't block both of these guys because they're just piled on top of each other. So they just end up letting either you, your user, or the defensive tackle walk in complete untouched. And so again, you're dive tackling the ball carrier to make sure that he can't speed boost away by pressing X on Xbox or square on PlayStation. But again, come stand directly inside of him, and that's where the dive tackle, this is where it's like you want to have both of those or both of these run defenses, because the first one is probably easier. There's less, room for error, but it's like with this one, if they counter that first one or you don't want to run double mug for whatever reason, all right, we're back. But if you don't want to run double mug for whatever reason, it's like you just come in here and then you just retarget the offensive line, and then you just make that dive tackle in the backfield. All right, my internet was low-key tweaking right there, so kind of lost my train of thought. But really what I'm saying here is if you come stand directly inside the butt of this defensive tackle, just run down, dive tackle, and having a guy with high tackling, there's nothing you can do there. If he just somehow misses the dive tackle, it's because his tackle rating isn't good enough. But if you come stand here, retarget the offensive line, put the flame icon over the head of your user, you come in free, and then you cut out his legs before he can actually speed boost away, that's going to be your best friend on defense. So whether you're running the double mug version or you're running this version, it's going to work extremely well for you. Alright, before I jump into those final 2 plays here that you're absolutely not going to want to miss from the 326 playbook, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. Again, I'm the only one breaking down college football 26 tips and tricks just like this every single day to help you guys get better, and you don't want to miss out on any of the content that I have. But let's jump into those final 2 plays. Which that next one is going to be the best defense that I like using from this 326 playbook against empty or 5 wide formations. Let me show you. Alright, so we're going to have them be in a random empty play right here. You're going to come to cover 3 cloud, and you're going to put your curl flats on 5 yards in your zone drops, right? Or you should already really have those on. But I don't know what passing play they're calling, alright? But it doesn't really matter because against empty, you can't be too aggressive. You want to show them a look and then drop into something different. This just looks like too high, which means they're probably thinking they're going to have just a wide open middle of the field or a wide open sideline, but we have cover 3 on one side. So what we're going to do is just practice working on our switch stick to switch stick around on their routes. Right here, they're just calling a screen, and so we stuff it out and we stop it. But really, the bottom line here is I don't really care what formation they're in, or I don't really care what play they're actually calling. When we're playing against empty, we really just need to make sure that we're having a good switch stick and we're able to defend a lot of their passing plays. So, I mean, they just keep going to these just silly, just nonsense plays here, which is kind of pissing me off. But it's like, when they're actually, we're just going to make sure they're passing. All right, so they finally want to pass here. So when they're passing, all you're trying to do is make sure that you're switch sticking around. Now, something else that I will point out is you do not want to have your safety depth on close when you're playing against empty. The reason why is because you need your safeties to be far back. You also don't want to have your width on pinch. You really need these guys to be in the right spots and actually be willing to get out there. And then also, it's like, when you switch stick, if they're too close like this, you're just going to end up switch sticking onto your safeties, which is just going to kill your defense, because then you're going to just pull those guys out of position. So make sure those guys are far enough back, and you're just reading the route concept that the offense is calling, and you're just trying to guard. Really just rely on your 4 down lineman sets to be able to kind of just defend everything here, and you're just going to be locking down pretty much everything they go to. Sometimes, like right there, you might have to switch stick onto the safety in order to take away like a deep cross or a deep post, but it's like, the thing about empty is you never really know what you're getting every single play, because especially if you run zone coverage, there's so many different ways that they can attack your zone coverage, and that's where the switch stick has to become your best friend. You have to be good with the switch stick when you're playing against empty, because what else are you going to do? Like, you can't really run man. They're just going to spread you out too easily. And then when you run zone, think about it. Like, if I just user this guy the whole time, someone else is guaranteed to be open. Like, it's going to be really, really hard for you to just have a good user when you're playing against empty. So really make sure that you're, switch sticking around, boom, finding work with your user, coming down, switching. That's like perfect defense against empty, to just be able to switch stick a whole bunch of times and take everything away. So really the best way that you're going to work on your switch stick is obviously by spying off the pass rush, hooking up a second controller in practice mode so you can control the offense, and then have them hike the ball, and then now you're going to see how you're just switching around to take away all of their passes. They're going to have all day to throw, obviously, because you aren't sending anyone, and this is what's going to start happening with these route bounces. And really what you want to do is make sure that at no point can they throw anything. So you're really doing a good job of guarding all of these guys as they continue running all over the field, and eventually when they stop running, you throw the ball away. But that's really where, against empty, you have to make sure that you're switch sticking around to be able to take away all these different holes that are going to inevitably be in your zone defense. So, and then, like I said, if you want to really work on your switch stick, spying off the pass rush is really going to be what you're going to have to do. But again, against empty, you have to be really smart. You can't have your safeties too close. You can't take a whole lot of risk on defense, which is why the switch stick has to become your best friend. But the reality is, truthfully, none of this stuff I've talked about so far in this video is going to matter if you can't stop the door or hold the door at the goal line and prevent them from scoring easy touchdowns in the red zone. Let me show you the best goal line defense here to use from this 3-2-6 defense. Alright, so when we're talking about goal line defense, we really want to make sure that we are defending quarterback sneak and all of the other just easy runs that people are going to try to call. Just pick up a yard or 2 yards and score a touchdown rather than actually having to play offense. So we're going to come into goal line 5-3. Every defensive playbook has this, but obviously we're talking about the 3-2-6 playbook here. And then we're going to scroll in our packages until we find the speed package, alright? So goal line 5-3, turn the speed package on. That's going to get your fastest defensive lineman out here in the field, which is going to allow them to get off these blocks like a second or half second faster. And then you're going to come down to gaps B, all right? That's going to be your play call, because what I want you to pay attention to first, though, is look at how wide open this gap is if Ty Simpson, the quarterback, falls over his right shoulder. So he falls over his right shoulder, like right there, and he's able to get closer to the end zone. Now, this ball is at the 1. If this ball is even closer, it's going to be an even easier touchdown. What I will tell you from my experience playing this game is there's sometimes where that will happen, where he'll fall forward and then like for a half yard hard and not score. But the reality is sometimes he actually, like right there, where he just gets enough of a push from the players behind him and he's able to score. So you need to take away that gap. Also, he can take it and sometimes like dive over the top if they get the animation fast enough. So what you need to do, you pinch your defensive line. So you pinch your defensive line, but honestly, this isn't going to be good enough, because the gap is still open there for him to fall forward. So you need to make sure that you're actually doing a much better job of just pushing him down to the ground. So you're going to pinch your defensive line, and then you're going to come stand in this gap right here. So boom, take it, and now what's going to happen is you're just going to be able to push him down to the ground. Before he can fall or anything like that, he's just going to fall right into your user for the easiest pressure and the easiest sack ever. And then, like you just saw, sometimes he can even fumble the ball. So it's like, this is going to be the most consistent way to stop those quarterback runs, those quarterback sneaks, simply by coming right here and standing right in this spot and then pushing the quarterback down to the ground just like that every single time. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to see you standing in this spot, and a lot of some smart offensive players are going to flip their play. But what I want you to understand is if they flip their play, you need to flip where you're standing. You need to come stand in this gap now, and you're going to be able to basically do the same thing. So boom, take the snap, they flip, and once again, I just pushed the quarterback Ty Simpson to the ground every single time. Whichever side the outside tight end is on, 89, so Dalton here in this case, is the side they're running to. That's your tell when they're in this goal line formation. So they can flip their play all they want, but I know whichever side he's on. So even if they come out like this, I know that I have to come out, on this side and come stand in this gap to just be able to push this guy to the ground just like that. This is also going to work great when they're actually, running halfback dive. So we're going to have them be in halfback dive right here. And so you're going to come stand in the same spot. Different run, it's going to be the same result. Where this time, we're just going to be able to sack the quarterback right there simply because it's just, we're just putting too many guys too close to the line of scrimmage. So it doesn't really matter again. This time we'll call power O. Now you're just going to see how there's two flame icons, and we're going to sack the quarterback once again. So this package right here, the speed package from Goal Line 5-3, is going to be your best friend as far as stopping the run, in the red zone, stopping these goal line runs, whether it's quarterback sneak, halfback dive, power O, it doesn't really matter. Just come and run this defense and make sure you're pinching your defensive line and standing in the right spot with your user as close to the line of scrimmage as possible without being offsides. Alright, so if you found that breakdown of the 3-2-6 playbook helpful here in CFB 26, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. I break down college football 26 tips and tricks just like this every single day to help you guys get better, and you don't want to miss out on any of the content that I have. But if you want my full 3-2-6 defense, which everything in this video was just a piece of the puzzle, if you want the full scheme, go to the link down below in the pinned comment to grab it today by using code YouTube to get 20% off. I guarantee you to transform the way you're able to play defense and get more stops here, because it has full videos, screenshots, write-ups to guide you through everything I know about this playbook. And if you want to see a gameplay of me running this, check out this video right here. I'll see you over there. Peace.